Humbled to be here on episode 8 of JPJ Health and Wellness. To be honest, yesterday's episode didn't happen, so I'm taking this morning today to do episode 8 and this evening tonight to do episode 9. Um, with differences with what I did in between. So today, on episode 8, this episode, I wanted to recap what I did yesterday towards my goal of my final destination on this part of my journey, right? Um, just one part of my journey. Um, Goal to 180, right? Um, and there's not really that much to talk about, other than a couple things I do want to touch on, though. So first, to start off, yesterday I did do um, 3 sets of 50 crunches, so 150 crunches total. And I thought that was sufficient for the day because the rest of the things that were on my mind had to do with more of the not just health part, but the wellness part of my journey, my current position in the grand scheme of things, my disposition, right? And um, yesterday really had an epiphany. I really had an epiphany that came to my mind that really came about in terms of this, right? If everything you do in your power is meant to align and you are willing yourself to align it and trust that it will align, then whatever you will to align, like you're willing it to come to you, right? You naturally attract and will align. So there's no necessary force or no necessary pushback on what you should be doing necessarily on the journey you're on and your North Star. So yesterday, instead of, like today too, but will be coming out in episode 9 tonight, um, going through to through yesterday's workout and thinking about, am I going to judge myself for not running and walking instead, right? Martin Luther King had a great quote that said, if you can't walk, then crawl. If you can't something along the lines of, if you can't walk, then crawl, right? That's the last part of the statement. Sorry. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. That um, there's no measure of how big a step should be in the grand scheme of things if your goal is for the journey, for the process, for the actual the actual journey, the love of what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve. It's not actually achieving the goal. It's what you're trying to do to achieve the goal day in and day out, whether the goal comes or not. And that should be the punchline, right? But everyone is trying to achieve the goal. And I think if you really trust and you have confidence in what you're doing, then you should know that the goals you have are trying to achieve will happen no matter what, right? Un that's undoubtedly uh without a shadow of a doubt confidence. And that's what I have in my journey and my process, but also what I encourage you and I'm trying to push out day in and day out uh, in my actions and in my words on how I truly feel about what I'm going through day in and day out. Because every journey uh, has its baby steps, right? And I think I talked a little bit about um, my humble beginnings, but every journey has those realizations along the line of, what the journey really means to you. If this is worthwhile, or if you're just doing it to show off. You're doing it for outside validation. You're doing it for money. You're doing it for fame. You're doing it for things that are fleeting on the outside. Um, and that's not what I'm encouraging on my journey. My journey is about seeking things on the inside, holding true to those things day in and day out, and changing your mind if you need be. Um, Changing your mind, and like you've seen on my journey, it's been a week since I ran, but there are days that I plan to run, the next day or the day after. Um, but it just hasn't come to fruition yet. And it's not that I'm being lazy, or that's the thing right there too. I want to touch on is I'm not being lazy about what I'm doing, or I'm being less ambitious or have a lack of motivation. It's more so quite the opposite. Is because I have self awareness and I have true trust in what I'm trying to achieve. In that the goal is set, the bar is set, and the goal and the bar is not the destination, right? Whether I get there, I have no shadow of a doubt that I'll reach, but it's what I attain along the way, those lessons that I learn along the way, those, those realizations on the hard days, that my resolve comes out stronger and more willing than, the good days. And that's what it's really about. That's what it's really about. Um, so that's what I have to say about episode 8. Um, it's about the process, not about the actual goals and achievements. Um, yes, we all want to set goals. Yes, we all have things we want to achieve. But if you're really doing it out of love, then there is no time limit or any things that are binding you to what you're trying to achieve. It's episode 8, JPJ Health and Wellness. I'm out.